Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our third segment of Sports Central. Hank Longo along with Neil Duncan, and this segment is brought to us by
Harry's Old Place right there in Winter Haven. A fantastic place to go and have a dining experience. If you haven't been there, go check them out.
It's great. Kind of live right by Harry's Old Place. And
no, don't hold that against them.
Don't hold that against me. It's great. Harry's, you rock. Anyhow, we have a great third segment and a unique sport we're going to talk about that's becoming a big hit now in the United States with Marty Ward, the Florida Southern head coach of lacrosse there at the college, and thanks for joining us, Marty.
Well, thanks for having me, guys.
And going to talk about lacrosse here, and
yeah, well, it's some interesting stuff.
Here.
Let's go ahead and talk about Florida Southern, the program first, and how it all got started. And then there's some interesting stories that you got for us that that recently happened. But tell us about the 2012 season. And lacrosse has only been a sport at Florida Southern for how long now?
This is going into our fifth year.
Fifth year, okay.
Yeah.
How was 2012, and what's 2013 look like?
Well, 2012 was a good year. I think it was a very competitive season for us. You know, we made it back to the conference tournament championship. For the second year. It was my second year as head coach with the program. You know, it was a good year for us. We had 7 all-conference guys, 3 all-tournament players. You know, we're really 4 goals away from being 14-2 last year. You know, it's 10-6. The record says 10-6, but we're 4 goals away from being 14-2. So to start, you know, this fall, the way we're going to start this fall, fresh, new assistant coaching staff that we hired this summer. You know, I think it's going to be a very good welcome change to the program, as well as a welcome change to the Florida Southern Athletic Department as well. Kind of bring a little bit different attitude to what we're trying to do. You know, 2012 was great. I mean, I can't. We had some good seniors. We had a lot of leadership on the team. But, you know, I think 2013 holds a big bright spot for us. We got a younger team, very junior dominated and sophomore dominated. So only five seniors on the team this year, so we're pretty young.
Lacrosse is really a game that's been big in the East for a long time now, and now it's, you know, becoming a really expanding popular sport. Where are you finding your players that you're recruiting?
We're having a lot of success, you know, in the Mid-Atlantic, the northeastern area. You know, I just got off the phone with a mother from Buffalo, New York, Niagara Falls, New York. You know, we're recruiting all the way out western New York. You know, the farthest American player that we have on our team this year is actually a freshman from Portland, Oregon, defenseman from all the way out in the Northwest.
Wow.
We have 6 Canadian players on our team this year, from all the way from Vancouver, British Columbia to Cochrane, Alberta. So we're pretty much all over the map. But we're having a lot of success in the New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania areas. We're getting into Philadelphia, a lot more recruiting now. There's a lot of good lacrosse being played there. You know, Long Island has always been a hotbed, upstate New York, you know, where I was born and raised, as well as a hotbed of lacrosse. So we seem to have a lot of success up in that area. A lot of those guys want to come down to Florida.
Well, I was just getting ready to say gorgeous college setting. And,
well, that's what I was getting ready to say. There certainly could be worse jobs to have as far as recruiting to a school. You know, Florida Southern just recently, I think, ranked the most beautiful campus yet again, second year in a row, and then of course our weather. So. Not to mention, you don't even get into the education part of what Florida Southern has to offer.
No,
so, how do you use that to your advantage? I mean, obviously, that's part of your sales. You've got to sell the parents to get the kids.
I think we're going after the right kind of student athlete now. You know, for the first couple years, it was kind of a feeler out period. You know, just getting numbers into the doors, trying to figure out what we could do. Now we're going to be a little bit more selective with who we bring in. You know, we're just not going to email a ton of kids and say, come down and play lacrosse at Florida Southern.
Right.
Now we're reaching out to our select kind of guys that meet our academic criteria. You know, we want every freshman that comes in to receive academic scholarships.
I'm going to graduate.
And we want them to stay 4 years, get a great education, and become productive members of society. You know, that's our big thing, you know, and so we're trying to find the Florida Southern guys now, and I think we're developing that culture. We're developing that kind of mentality where we want the academic student athlete here and playing lacrosse at Florida Southern.
Well, we were talking, you know, before this segment came on, and we found what you did over the summer here. I'll let Neil take this one because kind of fun, just in the conversation that we had, that he was really getting involved with.
Well, yeah. Tell us a little about, you were involved with the U19 World Championships in Finland.
Yes.
Now, I won't say the city because of the area. But what was it?
Turku.
Yeah. What he said.
Get a tongue roll.
But in Finland, that was in July of this year. Yeah. And tell us about that experience. And you weren't with the U.S. team.
No.
Tell us about that. You can tell it better than I certainly can ask it.
Well, being a part of the Iroquois national U19 team this year, I played on the men's team in 2006 and 2010. The Iroquois national team is the only indigenous team, sovereign country to play in international competition. So we're the only one in the world with indigenous Native Americans playing against international competition. So it's a very prestigious honor to be a part of that, and it's very exclusive, obviously, if you can say. But the experience of going over to Finland was tremendous.
Oh, I can imagine.
And, with our sponsorship with Nike was tremendous. They helped us out tremendously with that. We stayed in the best hotels. We ate great meals, team dinners. It was a fantastic experience for us to go to Northern Europe and actually experience that and play and participate and coach, in such an event,
Now, a couple of questions. Is lacrosse that popular over in Finland and Europe?
It's getting there. It's getting there. I know a lot of guys that have lived in the Czech Republic and have lived in Germany for years, and they've been developing programs and trying to get more and more kids playing the game at a younger age. And it's funny because Finland is they're not too bad. You go over there and you see these guys playing lacrosse, and they're playing at a semi-high level, not the same level as our Iroquois national team, Team USA or Canada, but they're there.
And let's talk about the Iroquois national team, because this was a great statistic that you shared with us. How many kids could try out for the U.S. lacrosse team?
I believe they have about 110,000 U19 active players that could try out for the team.
And then the Iroquois,
we pull from a pool of about 75.
And that's it. And you won.
And you guys defeated the U.S. and for the bronze medal, correct?
Well, in round robin play, we beat them in the last game of round robin play, and we defeated England 18-1 in the bronze medal game.
England, yes. Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. Well, real quick, and a great segment. That's a great story.
Flying by.
Maybe we'll have you hang around so you can tell us more about it. But tell us a little bit about how people get information about lacrosse in the Polk County area or the Florida Southern program.
Well, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to fscmox.com. That's where you're going to find a lot of the information about our men's lacrosse program and what we're doing at Florida Southern with the lacrosse program, the men's and women's programs there, as well as we're just beginning a club team in Polk County, Tropics Lacrosse. Lakeland Tropics actually play each Sunday in the Shooters League in Clearwater Beach. We have a middle school team and a high school team participating, and we'll be bringing a couple high school teams to a couple tournaments throughout the Florida area this fall. So we're trying to get the game going in Polk County. It's going to be good.
Great. Well, Marty, fun flew by. Thanks so much for joining us, and wishing you a great season in 2013.